Welcome everyone to race number 2 of Tier 1, and we are back in Bahrain in the desert. And I'm joined by podium finisher, still 100% rate, with both of us in the commentary booth. It's 100% for both of us in Tier 2. Me and you, Milo Gaming. How's it going?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm here this week. It's a good start. Another strategical race, as you can see by the wide choice of tyres right now.
Ricochet does come to the checkered flag and doesn't even get better, so get good. No, I'm kidding. Either way, you have AMS Tax and the Mercedes on his outlap. Last week, we saw only one driver go on the soft compound tire for the pole position, and it got him the pole, just barely over Boker, and it was the first front row lockout in Alpha Racing League history for the first time. It took 27 races, but we had the first front row lockout in qualifying in the league. So how is that for a stat, Milo? Because you don't usually see it always in leagues where there's a lot of front row lockouts. There's a lot of teams always dominating unless you have someone like ARL and Boker on the same team, for example, in here.
Well, that front row lockout really only happened due to Graham opting for the softs. He eventually finished outside the points and only took the point for pole. He's coming out in the mediums as we speak. But yeah,
last week.
they have made history and they're in a really good position if Graham can pick the right strategy today.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a good race in general, because this was a race that looked like originally it was going to rain in qualifying, but I think we're lucky enough just to get away with the scattered thunderstorm we had that had happened here in just a few hours ago. We were lucky to get away with it. Now it's just a dry track right now, but as you see, it's very cloudy, so we were lucky to enough to get away with the storm we had, and I think we were just lucky enough to get no rain, at least in qualifying, because that's probably what we would have had. We would have had another Britain Tier 2, for example, and another Italy maybe of Tier 2 also. But as of what the weather looks like for next week, anyone who's practiced Singapore, done Singapore, you might already know, if you've checked the weather report, it looks very rainy. It looks rainy for literally every single tier, and that's the way it goes. It's almost raining for almost every tier. Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1, it's raining for every tier. And basically, with Singapore, they're 12 hours ahead of American time, and they're 7 hours ahead of British time. So, the thing is, with the way it looks like it's gonna rain for all races, but maybe it might have the chance of being a difference between light rain, heavy rain. Maybe. I mean, we don't necessarily know. It's a little bit too early in the week to call anything or to say anything yet, but what do you think will happen, Milo?
Well, like you said, just if you're just looking at the weather forecast, you will know that the whole week is just filled with thunderstorms. Hence the nature of the Singapore climate. Again, lucky today to avoid those showers earlier on in the day. We're at dusk now, so they're all cleared up, and we can have a fully dry race. But just the practice people have put in the dry, yeah, that's great, but now can they apply it to the wet next week if it does rain, obviously?
Yeah, we've seen many races in ARL where it's shown it could rain before, and you live close to Silverstone, so you know either way. Even if you're watching from home and you don't necessarily know if the weather is accurate. You know, based off of, you know, I mean, we're not going to get everything accurate with the weather, but you live close to Silverstone anyway, and you know from the Grand Prix that, oh, it's like raining 30 minutes from here. Oh, it could rain in 30 minutes there. You know how it could go, so you're kind of that weather prediction guy from this league, I guess, to Britain, Silverstone, since you are close to it.
Yeah, calling Tier 1, you know, there's a bit of rain around, checking just the dampness, wasn't I? Just outside.
Being a weatherman.
Yeah, to see what could possibly happen, yeah. I mean, I'm not entirely that close, like 50 minutes or so, but still good enough to get a good indication of...
Hey, I mean, whatever you could do, it's
standing
close
water.
enough. Hey, I mean, it works out. That's the way it goes. Rizone did go up to P6 in his Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso actually got their first podium in a while in Tier 2 this past weekend from an actual driver, not just a reserve driver this time. Got a podium. It was Thrasher and Davis last season in Toro Rosso. Thrasher took a podium back at his last win back in Austria. That was the last podium by an actual Toro Rosso driver, which was a while ago actually, for Tier 2. And then Solberg took a podium yesterday for Toro Rosso anyway, so that obviously helped the confidence for them and changed their maybe luck, maybe their boost they wanted into the race, whatever it was. And Typhoon and Graham are already out of the session. We see more people going onto the soft tires. How will that change? Milo, pull time today compared to pull time in Tier 2 yesterday. Explain this to us why you should or shouldn't be on the soft compound tires Rizone spins. Why you should or shouldn't be on the soft compound tire and what a difference that can make.
Well, the only really benefit of the soft tire is a safety car around the pit window, because then you get a time to look after your fresh tires and essentially get a free pit stop. So it's the only real benefit of the softs. Or if there's a safety car early on and it allows you to stretch it so much you can put on the hards. But pole time yesterday was a 1:27.628 on the softs, which we've already seen John beat. He's the only one to have done that so far. But the mediums are a really, really good race tyre. You know, they can easily be better than the softs after 4 or 5 laps, maybe even earlier than that going into the race. So, brilliant race tyre, allows you to switch onto the hards with ease. So, softs are a massive, massive risk.
Yeah, I actually heard a lot of people speaking this morning about how the medium tire feels more comfortable than the soft compound tire. How much of a difference can that make? You know, even if you had late into the race someone take the soft tire, even if a safety car comes out. A safety car came out twice late in the race yesterday, midway through the race and also late in the race. That changed the factor of everything, and that also kind of split things up throughout the field. And what that also did from this, with the safety car, you had Rapid Extreme, OPC Patriot, and XP go on the soft tires. Rapid Extreme went from, in the last 3 positions, up to P5 in the race. And OPC Patriot got P8 from that, both Haas drivers. So they took a gamble, they took a strategy, and they made it work. Can anyone do the same thing today if a safety car decides to come out? Or VSC late and people decide to pit? Or what do people choose? Do people try a 2-stop? How is this all going to work out? You have the front 2 on softs. Checkered flag is waving. And John, Riles' driver, actually on pole right now. And Riles was the one on pole yesterday. John on pole right now as of today. Well, we're ending qualifying pretty soon here. F1 driver on a lap. You have Polo God also on a lap in his Alfa Romeo. He looks to improve his time. He looks like he is. And Polo God coming out of the fallen corner on mediums. Polo God, I think he might have ran out of fuel.
John in the 26s.
Rapalucas coming to the checkered flag. F1 driver also getting a tow from Felipe. This is going to change things. Felipe also very low on his tires, or his fuel, and also coming to the checkered flag this time. Rapalucas completing the checkered flag, goes P2 ahead of Bama and Boker. F1 driver, I think, just going second too. It's John on pole.
He has.
John takes pole position in Bahrain. For the first time, an American in Tier 1 takes pole position. And also, it's great to see what we saw in qualifying today with the mixture of the tires. How is this all going to work out from safety cars, VSCs, and different drivers? Well, you have John on pole position, highest American, highest British driver is F1 driver on those softs, trying a different strategy to his teammate, Polo God. Rapalucas, champion from last season, P3. Then you have Bama, Boker, R-Lane, Gautier, Rizone, Felipe, Tax, Graham, round out the top 11. No time for ABS Jarv. Typhoon making his first start in a while. It's been a while since he's shown up and been active. So Typhoon taking that will spot now. Our lane's left the session. Have to try to get him back in here if you can, Milo.
Yep, I will try. I'll try quickly now.
Should his car be here? Don't know if it is. It is not. It's not. Boker is trying to tie history in ARL by going 3 in a row. No one's at, well, someone's done it. Riles has done it, but no one has ever done 2 in a row in tier 1, excuse me. And he's trying to break that to even make it go 3 in a row, and he has a chance to do so today from the 4th row on the grid, I want to say. 3rd, 4th row, one of the two. We'll have to see where he is. A lot can play a difference into this race with the drivers and their strategy, the safety car, the VSC, what comes out. It really can change things. Even penalties. This race we saw yourself, Milo, have no penalties. Solberg had 3 seconds. That could have played a difference, but also he played a penalty.
Yep.
That changed a lot of things. It's not our lane on this grid. So Boker will be starting in the 3rd row, and he'll be starting 5th. Where he should be, and now that moves everyone up a position. So 19 drivers in this race with our lane not starting the race. So I guess we can go through our ones to watch. I think that's...
His AI just stopped and bunched everyone up. Sorry to interrupt.
I think we can go through the ones to watch. Last season's champion Rapalucas. In this race last season, he took a P3, or sorry, P3 on track, but P2 based off of penalties, beating Polo God. Rapalucas, he's shown really raw pace here last season, but the VSC was something that helped him late in the race. Is that what comes to his advantage later today? F1 driver in P2. It's tough with him basing off of what we've seen. We didn't see him here last season. This was the last race before he made his first start. Back at Belgium last season was the next race. F1 driver, he's shown good pace, but how can he take advantage of those soft compound tires? You have him on those soft tires along with 3 other drivers in this race. So is he going to take advantage of that early? Is he going to take advantage of that late? How's he going to do it? And again, I think we need to go with Mr. Boker. 3 in a row. He's looking for history. And can he tie Riles' record today of most wins consecutively? Boker and that Renault team leads the Constructors' Championship, if I'm correct. So can he keep that lead that he has? Milo, I think it's down to you.
Felipe, he was P2 in France last week. He's been quite confident all week coming into this. So he's going to be one to watch on those mediums. He's got Razone. Unfortunately, he's been disqualified, but he is also on the mediums just in front of him. So that'll be an interesting battle. 2 very, very quick drivers. We'll go outside the top 10 for this one. We have Raves. He's starting on the hards from 14th. So not only he's starting on the hards, TSR Norris is as well. They had a free choice, hence why they've chosen them. We'll see how that plays into their hands with strategy today.
Renault, after being last season and in the Constructors, now they, well, being last at one point and during this part of the season, they actually lead the Constructors heading into today with Boker, Felipe, and Rapalucas the top 3 in points. You see 20 drivers Dark Raptor because of the fact it just doesn't show Boker's car, or not Boker's, Arlen's car. Well, 5 red lights here and secure Bahrain. 5 red lights upon us. We are go! John got a great start, but was that wheel spin enough to maybe make him lose a little bit of time? But 3 wide through the back, and a Williams of Rapalucas trying to make a move down the inside. A Mercedes come through the field, and through turn 1 pretty decently. There's some damage in the back throughout the field. There's contact between a Renault and a Toro Rosso. That was Razone and Graham. And in the back, there's someone in the back. It was
Ricochet Typhoon Raves.
Typhoon wrecked on the first lap, the same corner, same spot, again for the 2nd season running. Along with Raves back there, one of your favorites, Milo. Now to the outside, Boker goes and Rapalucas. Rapalucas, a poor start with his traction, allows the soft compound tire guys of Bama, F1 driver, and the rest of them to get ahead and tax, almost hitting the back of Boker.
Felipe as well. He almost hit the back of Gautier. He was stuck behind him. As now Rizal is up into P7 as well. So I was saying these two are going to have a battle. It's already been stripped away at the start.
Going up the hill, we saw a lot of people spin in the race, early in the race with those soft compound tires. Watch out for Gautier and the front three. Those guys, will they take advantage of their tires, you know, and save the tires, or will they be worn very quickly? Side by side with Rizone and Tax. Rizone gets ahead of Tax. They're a little bit sideways as Rizone does go off the racetrack. John leads the first lap of the Grand Prix. Well, down into turn one, Rizone, Tax, side by side. You can't really see it from that camera angle. Rizone around the outside. He gets the pass done, but he is forcing Tax just a little bit out wide. John still leading this race over F1 driver. And down the inside. He tried it. Not enough for Tax, but maybe he might try it out of this corner. No, just not enough of the traction he needs. And there's a yellow flag. It's Rumbly Fungus, and I believe that's TS or Norris. Both spun around. Typhoon, Jarv, and Raves also pit from this race. Mr. Boker already losing a position. Well, not really losing a position, but losing a position to a guy in the championship like Rapalucas. He needs to hold him off. Rapalucas beat Boker in DAR at Spain yesterday. Can Rapalucas go 2 days in a row by beating Boker again today? What do you think, Milo?
Well, these two, they've had so many battles. So if you think back to pre-season, things got heated towards the final lap of the race. So will we see some revenge today? Pre-season was only 25%, of course, but you know, still.
Still part of the season,
counts.
Right? Yeah. As you see that lead kind of chunks back down. F1 driver fastest lap right there. Rapalucas takes it back over. Those soft tires might be starting to die out. Now, someone said in the chat, I believe 10 laps on those softs is the longest you can go. How long do you think the softs will last, Milo? Do you think it will last more than 10 laps, less than 10? How do you think it will go? Because I don't think it will last 10 laps, but I definitely think it will last more than people think than the Tier 2 race did.
Well,
some people.
They've already done qualifying laps, those that have them. They're already, you know, in the dirty air, trying to push their way past people at the start. That all helps, and when the tyres get more and more worn, you start to lock them up. So I think 10 is a bit of an ask, unless you're starting on them fresh, which nobody did. So we'll see how long people can go, but 10 might be a bit too much of a stretch.
Down in the midfield, it is Tax, Graham, Gautier, Felipe, Sam Seed, and also Polo God, who's at the back of this pack, battling it out. They're still very close to each other. Expect DRS when that is enabled on that French wall. It's already enabled, but when it's oh, Sam Steed around into the barrier.
I think he collected some polystyrene as well.
Expect DRS when that's in the front straightaway, it to be effective when it is when the drivers do use it. Because when that is used, you're going to see a lot of passes right here as you see Rapalucas gaining on Bama. These two had history back in Canada. Let's remember that. Down into turn one. Rapalucas side by side and gets by him. Now Boker has to deal with Bama. You're outside of turn three.
Felipe.
Turn four. Trying it. Down the inside. There's a little bit of contact, and I think he's sideways. That held up Boker. Look at the gap between Boker and him now. That's a second. Just from
that went to his tires a whole lot of good.
Just from that little slide of being sideways. That's all it does.
What I was going to say as well is Felipe finally got past Gautier. We saw on lap one. Well, at least I saw it. He went straight on, braking a little bit too late at turn 10. But he has passed the Red Bull now.
Boker's going to try it back at Bama. 4P4. Renault versus McLaren. These two actually look the favorite. Well, these three teams, Williams, McLaren, Renault, who all run near each other. Which, funnily enough, besides Typhoon, the other Renault and McLaren of Graham and Felipe actually run near each other right now. So, funnily enough, those guys are the favorites this season, Williams, McLaren, and Renault. And those guys run right near each other on the racetrack. So, I guess if you're the favorites, don't get too close, but still battle it out because you don't want to really get yourself in a mess you don't need to be. Boker trying on Bama again. Into turn 1, nothing complete. Graham trying on Tax again, too. He was trying. He looked like a move was going to be made. It just wasn't.
Graham had a good start. He started 11th with fresh tyres. Now he's trying to have a go on Tax. Oh, he thought about it. Around the outside into turn 4.
As soon as Boker came into the season, last season at the very final race at the finale, everyone thought clear favorite. What he's doing, he's gonna win next season, a lot. Well, championship contention, I think it's more closer than we all think it is. As Norris picks up that fastest lap, it is more closer than we all think it is because Boker had a challenge for Felipe and Rapalucas, where in GSR yesterday, he didn't have too much of a challenge when he charged back through the field after his pit stop. So, and some of the guys from here racing GSR. So, compared to that, he didn't have as much of a challenge there, but today he definitely has more of a challenge to, on his hands than he thought he would, at least.
Seeing if we get past Alabama, I think it might happen on this next straight. He's looking for every single tenth of track. Oh,
pitting.
Someone's dived in. F1 driver.
Well, not only with Bama and Boker battling, this helps Rizone catch up into turn 1. Boker's going to try it down the inside. Late braking is what's going to help him. He does it down the inside, but Bama crosses him back over and does the switchback. He gets back around him, and Boker still will have the DRS for turn 4, and he's going to get to the inside of him. Down to turn 4. What a little nice scrap this is. They're side by side still. And a little bit of wheel banging. Boker forces him just slightly to the curb. That was fair, but was it a bit dangerous for how it could have resulted in later? But luckily, it didn't go on, so who knows if that could have got dangerous later on. Sam C takes the fastest lap. So we have a 5-car scrap here for P6. Look at this, how close these guys are heading into turn 10. They were so close in turn 8, I thought someone was going to hit one another.
So Graham did pass Tax. He's ahead of Felipe as well. So Graham's running in a really good position here. He had his strategy woes last week. So this might finally be his chance. Could he push for a P4 at most with still 2 soft runners in 1st and 4th respectively?
How are the soft runners going to be able to handle the hill? This was handle the hill up there because this was around the time of Riles DNF. This 2 laps later was the time where GSR Hamilton gone out of the race and out of the position he was in. Bama pits from P4 and a change for the race lead.
Yep, so F1 driver's committed to a 2-stop by the looks of it. Bama goes on to hards. So is he trying the very, very difficult 1-stop from softs to hards? Wow, okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really bet on a safety car at that point. If you want to go soft to the end of the race, you might have to at this point. I don't know if you used all your softs in qualifying, but hey, I mean, you might have 1 or 2 soft pairs left. At this point, you might need to use it from a safety car. And this is what this might come down to. Well, Haas being the only team yet to score a point this season in constructors as of so far. 9 teams scored points last race. With that being said, that means Rumbly, Fungus, and Raves not running in a well position. They need to score points today if the Haas want to get up in the constructors, along with Houndoom being there and attending races because he's yet to attend a race this season. He's attended preseason though, so that's only preseason. Don't really matter too much, right?
Oh, Boker locks up the front right.
Will we see John coming to the pits this time? We will not. So John trying to interfere with Rapalucas. The inside. on Rappo. No, that's John. I apologize. And he does complete the pass. John, not really worth his fight, considering the fact John is on a different compound than Boker and Rapalucas. So it might be another race between Boker and Rapalucas, unless a safety car or VSC comes out. We saw last season midfield runners cause VSC, but with the patch of the game, you might see a safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. We had 2 safety cars yesterday, and those crashes came at the top of the hill, going towards turn 14,
Ooh,
13,
Felipe,
not too sure.
down the inside of Graham. They're side by side heading into turn 10. Felipe lets him go, but I think they're still side by side. Will Felipe try a dive? No, he won't, but Graham does run wide at a turn 10.
He runs wide. He comes back on track with no DRS, so he was vulnerable from tax for a moment there.
That was Felipe a bit sideways there on the straight. I don't know if it was weaving. I don't know if it was just him being sideways. I don't know what happened, but he was just so sideways off of turn 10. And maybe Graham got in the back of him. Maybe something happened, but I'm not sure how that could have really gone if that was in front of everyone else, including the leaders right now. Boker gaining on Rapalucas. Look at that fastest lap, though.
Brilliant lap.
Down the inside. Nope. Not just yet.
Rosell is past John as well, so Taro Rosso junior team gets past the Red Bull. Obviously equal cars, doesn't really matter. But
oh, Cram almost got turned by Tax. There was a little bit of contact between them there, but for the race lead, it is still back and forth between Boker and Rapalucas trying to fight back at it, just like another preseason where those two were going head to head. Just like
Felipe and Graham are still wheel to wheel.
We've seen what the S's can do to someone. Adam Fav spun there in the late portion of the race, in the Tier 2 race yesterday. So that changes your outcome of the race, especially when you're running toward a top 5 position. So, soft tires still for... Ice Gautier did pit. I did miss that. John is the only soft compound tire driver yet to pit in this race. So, oof. Now, right after he pits, does that trigger anyone from the medium tires to pit? How does this work for everyone else?
Medium should be able to go to lap 12, maybe
Pitting.
13, and then you can do... Yeah, John's in. Alright, so the mediums will still be out for another 2, maybe 3 laps then.
Another lap at least at
Especially the ones
earliest.
on the fresh.
Oh, race lead. Boker gets by. I apologize for missing that. Boker passed him.
Yep.
Taxed by Graham. Graham looks like he's struggling a little bit. Graham still didn't choose the soft tires this time. But Polo trying down the inside of him. Polo a bit way toward the right there. Graham gave enough room. Keep missing on that race lead. There's such a great battle for really P4 on back that I'm missing this race lead because it gone back and forth between Boker and Rapalucas, and I think Boker's going to have this. Considering that's a pad track for him, this is the way it goes. But considering Singapore's next week, that is a wheel track, and I'm sure that the wheel users will probably have more of an advantage on that race.
Well, if it's wet, you know, the wet...
For me, you cut out there, Milo. I didn't get to hear what you said. Just cut out. It was static also, too. What'd you say about the wet?
I was talking about the wet. Traction's good for the pad users, so it could be anyone's game.
Indeed, indeed. Graham still fighting Tax. Tax is not within DRS of Felipe, so if Graham wants a chance at him... Yep. Here we go, this lap. Look at this.
Rosaona's pit, Felipe's pit, Tax's pit. 3 medium runners in.
And look at how much that changes things for guys. Look at F1 driver. He pitted before all these guys, and he takes the fastest lap. He gets such an undercut on those guys. Look at the amount of difference it makes. He's almost 2 seconds ahead of these guys. Maybe even more than that. Holy cow. that undercut's really going to be powerful later in the race. I mean, if the safety car comes out, I forgot he was on softs, but if the safety car comes out, that might be able to play in his favor. I know he was on softs, and I know those guys are going to hards from the mediums, but if a safety car comes out, he might be in the right position at this point. He might be. I completely forgot he was on
Never
softs
know yet.
at the start. I mean, you this is how dumb I am. Ooh, Ferrari of Ricochet was sideways there in front of Atlantis. Polo got it, trying again on Graham. Jarv pits. Still all within DRS range for that race lead. Rapalucas keeping up on a wheel at one of the most dominant pad tracks in this game. This, I don't know if, oh, they're both pitting. And Polo, Graham, do they pit? What does this do for those two? Polo pits, Graham stays out.
Oh, that's an undercut for Polo. This should be interesting.
And this is also going to be undercut for Polo with Ricochet and Atlantis if they try the overcut. Remember, Ricochet actually made the undercut work in the first ever ARL race back in France. So this overcut, I know it was France, but hey, I mean, you don't know what could happen in this race. Something crazy could happen. There's so many drivers running neck to neck, close to one another. And actually, Rizone is close to Rapalucas now, who are side by side for P6. What would be P2?
Also, Rizone undercut Rapalucas. Wow.
By a
really
ton.
Smart move then to pit a lap earlier.
Look at the difference that made between Boker and Rapalucas. The difference that made? Almost a second ahead. That's insane. How much that was for Rizone battling. Rapalucas is going to be fuming.
He will be, but so it was his fault he didn't undercut himself, because he would have been in that position ahead of Boker probably.
Well, considering this is a quote-unquote pad track, out of the pad tracks there are, Milo, where would you rank Bahrain out of the other dominant pad tracks as the Grand Pits?
Well, I'm not really too sure on a rating, but because this track has, you know, huge traction zones like turn 1, turn 10 onto that third DRS straight, and then up the hill as well. That's all completely flat out. You need good exits from there. Yeah, it's well and truly up there, let's say, in terms of a rank, but I don't really know, to be honest, in terms of ranking. I'll need to be proved to me.
I guess you could say that, yeah. Tax and Polo go wheel to wheel into turn 4. It was pretty close between those two. That was almost contact, and Polo still stays ahead for the time being. Ooh, but Polo's slow. He's really slower than Tax. He's holding up Tax, and Tax almost ran in the back of him right there. I think he might have did.
Again, good undercut by Polo for Graham.
Yeah, and Tax
Got
too.
Tax as well in his mirrors.
Still so many battles in this race compared to last season where, John does get by. Compared to last season where this race was really kind of, I think Rizone is damaged. There might have been contact with Rapalucas and him. There's damage for Rizone.
Oh, there is. That is huge damage as F1 driver sets another fastest lap. He's going really well on those mediums as Ricochet is in for some hards.
At this point in the season, last season, we would have had Downey on the track still, and we would have had the incident that happened. Everyone remembers that for sure. I know a lot of people do, where that incident happened. But compared to last season, this race was, after the midfield split up between Joshua Sofor and Thrasher, this race got really, really boring. But right now, this midfield battle, the battle between Felipe and Bama, two teammates, it stays very close, and Bama defending Felipe. I think Bama might have let him pass there. They're on the. I think they're on different strategies, so that might.
Well,
people might look at that.
yeah,
But
Felipe's done 3 laps on those hards, Bama 7, so...
Unless Bama had damage, I mean, I don't see damage from Bama, because Utah, Sync C1, the Renault driver, let the other Renault driver of Utah Elephant by yesterday, because he had damage, which was reasonable. But these guys don't have damage, same strategy, didn't really fight him. I mean, Team Waters, what do you call it? I mean, I don't know how to look at it, but they're trying to work for what they got. They're trying to do everything they can. I'm sure some people will want it reviewed. I know there's 11 people watching, so 11 people will know that I'm saying that. So, Team Orders, not Team Orders. I mean, how will it affect Felipe? Because he's right behind John, and he'll probably be on a run for a podium at this point. And considering F1 driver is going to go to the softs at the end of this race, from what I'm thinking, or maybe even mediums, who knows? Right now, he would come out around the 9th, 10th area, around that Graham, Alanis, Gautier, Ricochet battle, around there. So right around where Polo, Graham is, right behind here, depends how his pace is still on these tires.
He just needs to remain consistent on those mediums. Really good race tyre. And the interval isn't really changing between him and Boca right now, so it's doing a good job.
Yes, Norris got by Rumbly Fungus. Well, I didn't really see many collisions from this race. A lot cleaner than last season's race for sure, but we have a yellow flag. Who's the yellow flag for? Who is the yellow flag for? Is that Gautier? No, Gautier just got passed. Who is the yellow flag for then? Okay. Oh, VSC!
Oh, that's your safety car.
So, what does F1 driver do now? What's this for VSC for? Someone got damaged somewhere. That's all I know. Someone got damaged somewhere, and that's all I know. That's all I know.
I think F1 driver will pit. I think he'll pick the mediums.
He has to at this point. If he wants to stay in contention for the midfield and maybe...
He's driving in. Oh, this could be...
This could be something for podium.
A brilliantly lucky moment.
Because, think about this. John and Bama started on the softs. But if my calculations are right, he's going to come out right around where Polo and Graham are. He might come out around there. So, hold up. This is a lot of other people pit too. So does John. So look at this. He actually comes out behind Bama, but I think just right ahead of Tax. And green flag again.
He cuts front.
I knew it was going to be between Polo and them. So he's ahead of his teammate. So now, how is this going to work between teammates? Polo has to get by Tax if Polo wants an advantage by this. And how does penalties work out? Because this could maybe get Polo a second podium in ARL. If this works out the right way with Polo, with safety cars, VSCs, whatever happens in the race, anything could change, and you got to make the right decision at the right time.
Well, F1 drivers already homing in on those McLarens. That's P3 if you can make that happen, but can he close 8 seconds to the leaders though, and 10 to Boca? If he wants any shot of winning this, a safety car would help that so much. Speaking
about the leaders, one warning between Boca and Rapalucas, both one warning. 3 warnings from Felipe. I don't know why there's 3, but 4 warnings from Bama. F1 driver has no warning, so he's in the better end of the situation. Tax, no warnings whatsoever. Polo got 2 warnings. Graham has a penalty. He's the first one with a penalty, and Alanis has 2 warnings. So, and Ricochet 5 seconds. So out of the top 10, there's 3 guys with a penalty. But what I'm really thinking here is almost half of the guys I named that don't have a penalty have only 1 more warning to go before they get another penalty, before they get their first penalty. So they got to play it cautious. Into turn 1 now. F1 driver on Bama. This is going to be a great charge if he can get a podium off of this. This would be great to see. He gets through, and Bama will have the DRS into turn 4. Bama tries to fight back. It's not enough for him on a 10-lap hards. Remember, Bama started on the softs, so this might play different into him. For zone, fastest lap on the mediums.
Tax no longer has DRS on the cars in front, so it's giving Polo really good opportunity to try and make the move soon. He taps the rear bumper.
Yeah, considering Polo God, considering this Norris Pits, considering Polo God is not within DRS, or Tax isn't within DRS of Bama and F1 driver, this now hurts Polo with F1 driver being his teammate, because I was thinking if Polo got by Tax here, was F1 driver going to be able to keep him within DRS? Was Polo going to be able to have those two work out together and maybe be able to catch up to Felipe sometime soon? Because right now, it's only F1 driver and Bama near Felipe, which Bama's going to have to pit again at least sometime, unless he really makes the strategy work. And Polo is still stuck behind Tax. And compared to Felipe, that's a whole 3 seconds. So I was thinking they work together, they could have caught Felipe, but right now, into turn 1, down the inside, F1 driver goes. Gets the move done, goes a little bit wide, but a nice dive bomb, making that one work. And Polo got in the background, gets by Tax, but he's not completely clear. A little bit of contact again between those two. And Felipe and F1 driver going back at it, but Tax is charging back at Polo.
Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it on the curb! He spun!
He locked the rear up too, I think. Yeah, that's what affected him the most out of that. I don't think he would have spun necessarily if he locked the rears, but that for sure loses him time to Graham and loses his time to Polo, because now Atlantis is right within striking distance of him, which will cause Atlantis to have DRS on the turn 10 back straight, heading to turn 11. What I'm really curious to see here is how much is Bama gonna help his teammate Felipe here. If Felipe gets out of DRS of F1 driver, how does this all work out for them? F1 driver's tires are definitely going to get worn toward the end, but how worn are they going to get compared to Felipe's hards that he has? And still focusing on the race lead, 2.5 seconds as that gap. That gap which before the VSC was 2.0, so again, that race lead really falling apart. F1 driver.
Fastest lap for F1 driver. Getting closer to the 29s now.
Oh yeah, very close for sure. Remember, if you get the fastest lap, it doesn't matter what position you are in. So, even if you're a guy like Sam Steed or the guys outside the points and you're just begging about a safety car, if you don't get that safety car, maybe you could pit for softs and try that fastest lap and get it. Typhoon picks up a penalty. We've barely seen any penalties. Not seen many stuff pop up on the screen today, but I'm sure you will in Singapore. And next week's race. E12. It's tight between these guys. And Rizone stays ahead. Oh.
Oh, spin, Rizone! That's a big one.
Is that damage and he's out? Yeah, he's retired.
He's retired, coming back onto the circuit. This will cause something.
Alabama Outlaws picked up a penalty. Milo, you've got an echo, by the way.
Oh.
Yep. Well, Typhoon's actually close to Raves for P18. One of the backmarker battles between Raves and Typhoon. Raves almost lost it off the curb, but it still stays the same between those two at P17 and 18 now. Rizone, the only retirement in this race. We've only had one retirement in this race. Now, that actually is an interesting stat, because last week in France, we only had one retirement, which was Polo God. Compared to, whoa, Jarv almost lost it off the curb. I was just focusing on him. He almost lost it, and that could have sent him into a barrier. No, we had only one DNF last week. And compared to last season at this time, we had 3 DNFs in France, 2 DQs, which is DNR also. And we then had also a DNS. And then in Bahrain at this time, we had really 7-8 DNFs, and we had one driver who had a DNR at that point. So really I don't want to jinx anything, and I know I will for sure, considering I did yesterday a ton. Considering what we see as of right now, this is the way it stands. We only have one retirement in this race. We have a DNS, but we have one retirement in this race. So it's staying pretty clean so far out of the start of this Tier 1 season. Surprisingly, I gotta say, because last season wasn't one of the cleanest starts to this season with DNFs. And same with Belgium, because that originally would be the third race of the season as of this point in the season. So next week would originally be Belgium, which had the most DNFs there with 10. So that's how that shapes up.
Here goes Atlantis on tax. Whoa, he hit that inside curb, and that allows tax to go straight around the outside again.
Atlantis is at a disadvantage because he doesn't have DRS from that. Tax actually does, so that changes the things with the straight line speed into that corner unless they're running a completely different setup. And you're still echoing, Milo.
Oh God.
Well, it's still close between Bama, Polo, Graham, all for P5, P6, P7. Bama's trying to make these hards work. And let's remember who Bama goes a bit wide out of turn 10. And now Polo gets back on the gas and gets the advantage off of turn 10 into the turn 11 corner. And Polo is ahead of Bama. While Bama tries to switch back. And they're side by side up the hill. And Bama around the outside. I think it was going to work for a second. He's trying to switch back again. A great little battle here for P5.
I really thought he was going to make that work. What a spectacular move it would have been. And here he goes again.
This is insane how this is able to work, but he's a little bit sideways.
And
now
here comes Graham.
Takes advantage of this. On Polo.
And he's in the slipstream of Polo. Will he make a double pass into turn one? Polo defends.
Bit of an aggressive block.
Wow,
there
what a
from
pass.
Polo. And a little bit of a hit from Bama into Polo. Side by side through turn 2. A little bit of contact. Polo really wasn't battling anyone at this point last year. He really wasn't battling anyone this race. He was so much alone. And last time back in France, in last season, he really had the chance to score great points, but he binned it himself. And same way with Spa. He didn't really battle anyone, mostly throughout the race in France and Bahrain. But now he's battling for this great scrap here, compared to his race last time out, where he had the issues he had. Let's hope he doesn't have the issues again that he had. But it's P7 down to Polo. Got passed, but he got passed by Bama's older hards. So that is pretty concerning. The only thing that should help Polo is staying within ERS, considering he's low on ERS. But Graham, ERS for him, that's changed. He's actually up in the positive way, up above 50% compared to Bama and Polo. Well, look at the race lead, 2.3 seconds.
Starting to come down again.
Polo doesn't have damage. Nah, it looked like it. He doesn't have damage though. At least if he does, it's lime green with damage. And I think you're echoing again, Milo.
Oh my God.
Well, into turn 1 this time, it's Bama and Polo God. Bama stays ahead, but Bama is not close enough to Graham for a pass, an overtake. He's not really close enough to make it work. So, really, he's got to be able to try to get to him at this point. He can't just sit around, because Bama needs to use all that ERS that he can, because Graham is trying to save some of his. Last season's podium, Polo God, Rapalucas, DW, not in that exact order. Not exactly running in the positions they were running in, except for Rapalucas, or at least close to it. Polo 7th and DW not in this race compared to last season. Milo, is that mic any better, hopefully?
Huh?
I hope, at least. Is that mic better? Let's see. I don't hear any echo as of right now, so it's good. Good.
Start sometimes. Apologies.
Well, I hate to try to jinx it, and I know I probably will just by saying this. Again, you know, I'm always concerned, will there be a late race safety car? That's what I always concern myself in when I league race. And what I'm looking at right now is three drivers who are really close. Polo got Bama, and then you have Atlanta's Tax, well, three battles, I should say, and Jarv and Norris. So there could easily be a safety car at least at some point in this race if the battles continue. Bama has no DRS, but here comes Polo to the right side. And Polo gets ahead. Bama didn't hit him that time, luckily enough. And Atlantis doesn't get by Tax that time. Jarv and Norris, what a scrap for P15. Really down the field, but Jarv gets by him. That's a big question I think we should ask. Is there going to be a safety car? It's late in the race, anything can happen, but hey, I mean, a lot of drivers are running really close to one another. I wouldn't say close enough, but you don't know. You can't really just assume what always is going to happen, but at this point in the race, with these many drivers close enough to each other, something can happen. And Polo God, now that he's by Bama, he's starting to gain on Graham for P5, and Graham actually has a penalty. Polo doesn't, so that will automatically change, and maybe Graham might be put down to 7th.
A lot of contact now between Norris and Jarv. Still going at it. Turn 4, now turn 5 and 6.
Oh,
He's still got his nose in.
Goes a
What's
bit
that,
wide.
really an overtaking opportunity? Norris goes straight on.
Yellow flag, where is that? Don't know where. I can't see it on the map, but yeah, no yellow flag, at least that I know of. Jarv and Norris, what a little scrap for P15. They both had not the best of races considering their start that they had with damage from the start of the race. So that didn't really help at all that they had damage, but hey, they're going at it. And only a VSC in this race. We've kept it clean with the VSCs and safety cars. I at least thought there was at least going to be one of the safety cars today. I didn't think there was at least going to be many, but compared to Tier 2 yesterday, this is really clean. And I don't think we'll see many clips sent in after the race, except for anything from the start of the race. That's really it. We've not seen much bad racing compared to last week. This has been really clean. And now that the drivers, compared to last season, have got a full season with each other, at least most of them have, they know what it's like to race each other. As Jarv pits for fastest lap, I think this will be.
Yes. Softs. It is softs. Fresh softs.
Rave's penalty doesn't really matter because he's down in 18th anyway, having a bad race. He going under the softs as well. Oh, rip, we've got an echo again.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. I don't know why. I really don't know why there's an echo again.
I'm not touching anything. It's just stuff.
That'll get memed. Either way, back to the race lead and back to the race. Rapalukis actually gaining on Boker. Has the tires starting to get worn. I don't think we'll see an overtake or anyone get DRS in that front pack unless Boker just stops pushing completely. But Rapalukis gained 3/10 there. That's not really enough, but if he's using all of his ERS, that might be why. Yeah, he's got Jarv's AI car. Well, not AI. Ghosted car, sorry.
And the DRS as well from Jarv.
Yeah.
And will he get Slipstream as well? Do you get Slipstream for ghosted cars? I'm not too sure.
That's a good question. Ooh.
I've never really tried it.
I don't really know, actually. We'll have to ask Codemasters, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Who knows? Either way, Rapalukis has to save that ERS because he sees Boker right in front. It's 2.1 between them. But Boker now uses his ERS on this little straight. Yellow flag. Oh, out of the race is Rage.
Safety car! Safety car!
Oh my god!
Oh
Holy cow! What has happened? This race changes!
Okay.
I'm going to panic.
Okay.
I'm going to panic. Hold up.
Do not panic.
Bama, speeding penalty. Drive through. Yeah, do not panic. Yeah, I don't know if I want to panic or not. We're going to restart with 1 lap to go, I think. No, maybe 2. Maybe 2. Well, the field needs to get lined up right now. It's going to be a shootout. Penalties. Oh, boy. What have we seen? Another Italian Grand Prix. And who was up front in that one? F1 driver. F1
Bama
driver was
pits.
up front for that one. Well, he had to drive through. He wants to probably serve it, but
He can't.
really
Onto
can't.
safety car, so he pits.
Only warnings for Rapalucas in the front three. Felipe just needs another warning for a penalty. Graham has a penalty, so he'll be changed with his position. Polo got his, just a warning. Tax has just 2 warnings, I think maybe 3. And Atlantis has a warnings. John, he's in a good position, considering he stood on the soft. Same with whoever did. That was F1 driver too. And Ricochet, 5 seconds. Well, Rave's gone out of the race up the hill, and Raves causes this late race safety car. Oh boy.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Lap 29 straight off for the win. This is what it might look like. Well, we don't know if the safety car is going to come in this time or not. Whoever pitted, I don't think it's the best strategy. I think you did wrong. Because the safety car might come in this time.
You have to catch up.
Yeah,
They
there's
won't
no
wait.
way. There's no way. The safety car is going to come in this time, I think. It's the same thing happened before. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout.
Yeah, it's
Safety
in
car in the
already.
slap. Look at this.
Well, that was
Jarv
quick.
interfering.
That was.
Well, yeah, we got a show on our hands for the late race. Rapalucas is gonna fight Boker for all he has, and
F1
look at this.
driver as well on the fresh mediums.
Yeah,
well,
think
fresher
about this
mediums.
too. Think about this too. The first guy in softs is Bama. He cost himself with going down the order. We saw how the safety car restarts were yesterday. How will the safety car restarts turn out today? We saw 4 wide. We saw a big crash. What will happen? Boker gets going. And Gautier's got a penalty for exceeding track limits.
I think that'll be
Rapalucas is
appealed.
on the gas. Look at this at the line.
He's going brilliant.
Look at F1 driver in the
restart, he's in
slipstream
the
right
lead.
now. 3 wide. Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
days.
Down the inside
Contact and he
turn.
sends Rapalucas off.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
And Boker goes through.
Oh.
And here comes Felipe back at it. Rapalucas is down the order, down in 6th. I'm losing my voice.
Please
Rapalucas
don't
is
lose your
pretty
voice.
pissed. Oh
I
my
beg.
god, Rapalucas is pissed. He
Ugh.
bangs Polo out of the way. Contact with them. Those guys are going at it. And now Rapalucas off of a podium spot. I think he has damage. No, he doesn't. But now, down the inside, Graham tries on Polo. Graham really one of the losers out of the restart. And John also trying to gain on him. 2 to go in Bahrain. How are they going to catch Boker into turn 10?
Remember, there's no DRS because we won't be doing 3 laps after the
Correct.
safety car. There is no DRS. So this is just going to have to be pure pace and pure slipstream from the 2 chasing
Well,
cars of Felipe and F1 driver.
Not only that, use your ERS right now. You don't need to waste.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to care about wasting it. You have 2 laps
Don't
to do
waste
this.
time.
Felipe, he was runner-up last week, and he might be runner-up this week. Rapalucas, once he gets back to F1 driver, expect some contact because F1 driver was the one who moved him out of the way. These two, think about this. They were to party all day today before the race. And these 2 are good friends. So F1 driver moving Rapalucas out of the way. That was pretty savage. Final lap. Typhoon takes the fastest lap. Ooh, another point for Williams.
Yeah. Sorry. No, don't want to be biased. No. Anyway.
Either way, Felipe's 7/10 behind, and now Tax picks up a penalty. That's not what he needs, and that's not what Graham needs. But I think Polo is running out of time to catch the guys in front of him. He has a chance at a good finish. How will this turn out with post-race penalties from guys from the restart? Rapalucas gaining an F1 driver.
Yeah, Rapper would definitely be straight to
Oh,
the
here he goes!
submitting.
Here he goes! Down the inside, and he really sent it. He was not too happy, and he was showing him, I'm pretty pissed at you. And he really showed it that time. Boker, he only needs another warning. Felipe, same with him. How will this turn out for them? Boker cannot exceed the track limits up the hill. How's this all going to play out? Remember, a late race penalty. We saw what that could change from last week. Heading to the final corners. Jarv gets a penalty for ignoring blue flags. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Boker and Felipe both kept it all clean so far. Rapalucas and F1 driver pretty close. John picks up a penalty. That's going to change the running order for sure. Oh, and
Will
there's a
Rapper
big
go for
crash.
it?
Typhoon off the track. Not a crash, but
He's gone for it! No, that's never gonna work! No.
Boker
He
to the
spun him
checker
around.
flag. F1 driver spun him, and Boker
Aw.
wins the race.
No,
a
that was
controversial
silly.
one.
That was silly.
Polo might get a podium out of this. I'm going to talk to Polo because that was pretty pretty dumb move from Rappalucas from what I could see a little bit.
that was really, no, I can't believe that. That's unprofessional.
This reminds me of an end of a NASCAR race. Every time someone's pissed at someone, or just the last lap, the last corner, and that's the way it goes. Well, Atlantis P5, Polo God might return to the podium this season, but it's the same podium 3 times in a row if it stays this way. It's the same podium 3 times in a row as of right now. Another ARL record. And John gets the final point after his penalty. Polo God, though. Woo, he was running 7th, and he might get a podium out of this. He might. He just might. Well,
F1 driver is going to be the most unhappy person in the world right now. Yeah.
I recommend getting F1 driver first. I want to talk to him. I recommend getting him first.
He's going to be so angry, and I do not blame him. I do not blame him.
I do not. Okay, Silent, I see you in chat. Well, the finishing results here, and another close finish, second closest finish this week. We've seen the drama, but 6th on the grid from Atlantis up to P4. Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna see some post-race drama. I recommend voting F1 driver
first. Oh, it's starting in the chat.
Oh boy, yeah, you bet. Yeah, that was a pretty bad move. I hear spamming Discord notifications. F1 driver's not gonna be happy. Oh, I'm voting F1 driver first. Yeah. We're not getting Boker, Rappalucas, and them just yet. We're waiting. Well, I just dropped my controller. That's pretty nice. I'm trying to get F1 driver here talking first for a post-race interview. Raptor even said that was dirty. Yeah, Polo, you're gonna get an interview if you're here. Yeah, Rappalucas basically kind of just admitted he did that on purpose, I think. Basically just kind of admitted it in the chat. That's probably gonna give Polo got another podium here in Bahrain. F1 driver, I don't expect you to be the happiest. I really don't. Include your audio.
Yeah, it's included.
At least you're laughing about it, I guess. At least you're laughing, but why? Why? Like, just.
I'm so confused. Like, into turn 1, I got such a good launch off the safety car restart.
You did.
And then I got down the inside. I basically had no room. It was either on the track, and then Rappalucas slightly went right. I clipped his rear wheel. He almost did a half spin. Then on the last lap, last corner, he decides to dive it from like 100 meters back. I'm like, what was the freaking point?
Yeah, we saw you had a great restart from the safety car. Sorry for cutting you off. We saw you had a great restart from the safety car. We thought you were going to win the race at that point. But Boker gone through from that contact with Rappalucas. Do you regret making contact with Rappalucas now that you think about it?
No. Like, if you leave me no room, there's no other choice, is there? Like, then Rappalucas decides I could possibly take this to the stewards and maybe get me a penalty, but no, he decides to do me dirty and decides to dive bomb me from like 100 meters back, which is just stupid. I thought my dive bomb at USA last season was ambitious, but that was just stupid, honestly.
Yeah. I've got to ask you, Singapore, it's going to rain next week. With you showing you had the different strategy and you made this work, you were on the podium in general, and you were probably going to get those mediums to the end from what it looked like and everything else. Does this maybe question you for strategies for future races? Because you made it work. You were up there running in a really good position.
Yeah. I was thinking, there's no point me running mediums to hards and yet still being slower. So I was thinking, why not? Let's try something this weekend. And I would have been on the podium. I'd like the podium reinstated, but that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, it's just what a mess, honestly.
Well, Milo, do you have any questions for F1 driver before we make him leave? Because Rappalucas is going to come here soon, pretty soon too, and we'll talk to him.
One word to sum up your emotions, or 2 if you want.
Confused. Like, conflicted.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Oh. Hey, well, I guess congratulations on a good run at the end, I guess you could say. I don't know if I should be congratulating you on anything because it's like you got wrecked. So yeah,
I saw
thank you
him
for
do it
joining us.
into I saw him do it into turn 8 as
Very
well. I was like,
bound.
what are you doing? Anyway, I think if Marcus does get a penalty, I think my teammate Polo's going to be on the podium.
Polo,
so
beat a podium again this
switch
season.
positions.
Oh my God! Imagine that. Imagine that. Your teammate who's bottled it every single race almost last season, and this was his last point-scoring race besides fastest laps and pole. This is his last time he scored points, and he scores points a season later from an extra points position. So it's good for him, and that's good for the team. Hey, I mean, I don't. That's a good for you though, at least that you got the points with him, and that might change a few things. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna make you leave at this point. Congratulations though.
Yeah.
Good luck in Singapore. I'm gonna make you leave before it gets tense between.
Oh no.
The rest of the people.
Can't imagine that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think Boker will get him in here first too.
Only fair. He drove
Lucas,
a brilliant.
and Felipe. Paulo. And Felipe, let's get him. Oh. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, sure. Last start, sure. Hopefully, I was a off, that's my question. Either way, let me see who's on the party right now. All of you here. Well, I don't really know who I want to have go first, Milo. Who should go first? Because that was chaotic.
Should talk to the winner. He's not getting enough attention.
Yeah, he really isn't. This reminds me of a NASCAR race, like I said at the end, how it gets chaotic like this. Tempers flare. And maybe a little bit of anger at the end from people. Boker, I'm going to start with you. 3 in a row this time. Another pad track you win in. You dominated this one, but how nervous were you when you saw yourself get passed by F1 driver Rapalucas at the end and go 3 wide with them, and it looked like your win might have been away at that point? Include your audio, by the way.
Absolutely shitting myself. Like, the game completely screwed me over at the restart, so like it automatically broke my car. So then I was passed by both of them, but luckily for me, F1 driver doesn't know how to brake, so yeah.
Clip my rear end nicely.
Yeah, I had a good view of it. He really punted you. When I talk about the actual race, it was kind of unlucky for Rapalucas because he did get held in the pits, but from that it was just downright pace on both of us. Just we're going faster than each other each lap. Like one time I was extending the lap, one gap. The other time he was just closing it in. It was good racing. And the safety car was. I was thinking I was gonna get past, so I'm happy to still have a win. It was good racing.
Yeah, it was good racing from you, and that's kind of what happens in racing, where the safety car comes out just because of something else that happened. It was a back marker there that crashed. We've seen it in real life before. What happens when a back marker crashes and it causes a safety car? But what were you all thinking, or what were you thinking when you saw the carnage behind you? Felipe was using more ERS than you at certain points in the laps, and you were kind of managing yours a little bit better. It looked like Felipe would have caught you if were maybe a few other laps, maybe not. But how are you managing the gap to Felipe?
Talking about in the safety car.
No, the gap to Felipe in general after the safety car came out, the 2 to go restart.
I was mostly. I don't think I was gonna get past, but I was just trying not to spin it. You know what I mean? And the party's gone silent.
Yeah. Milo. Well, by the way, congratulations on the win. Milo, do you have any questions for Boker from that? Because
You're probably aware of the weather for next week, thunderstorms basically all week. How prepared are you for those conditions if they do happen?
If it's wet weather, then that's great because I'm not good at Singapore, and we all know how good pad is in the wet. So yeah, hopefully it's wet.
We were discussing this.
Yes, we were. But hey, Congratulations
four
on
in
your
a
win
row.
today, hopefully. Yeah, 4 in a row. Yeah, I was going to mention that. 3 in a row, by the way. Congrats on that, and congrats on the win.
Cheers.
Felipe, hey, second for like the 3rd time in a row and the 4th time in this league. The most seconds in this league without a win. When is that win coming?
Singapore next week, if it doesn't rain.
If it doesn't rain, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, talk us through that last restart, because you actually got past Rappalucas, past F1 Driver, you got past them in the drama. You took yourself from a P4, P5 position where you were fighting back there, and that safety car actually helped you for a podium.
It helped me a lot. They just crashed or something. I just tried to keep my speed and just avoid them, and then I came out behind the Boker, so I just, oh my god, I'm in a 2nd place now, so I just kept my position and didn't think of doing an overtake, because 2nd place on Bahrain is pretty good for me on wheel. So yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really
like
happy
you said,
with this
Singapore's
result.
good for you. Yep. Yeah, like you said, Singapore's really good for you, and you've kept a consistent time through this league when you've raced Italy, for example, and then there was Abu Dhabi. Wait, yeah, Italy, then Abu Dhabi. And then you've had these past 2 races where you've been second. You've been Mr. Consistent, I guess, along with you, Boker. Felipe, you've been consistent in the 2nd position, but a win is yet to come. Like I said, when is it coming? But can you keep up this consistency, and can you keep up the good finishes you've had?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can keep it up. Today I was lucky.
Milo, do you have any questions though? And congratulations to you in 2nd.
Congratulations to you, Felipe. Obviously, your consistency really good at the moment. Do you still think you can take the championship fight to Boca?
I think I can, but it's the calendar is last track on the calendars, and they're not so good for me, but I'll try. But Boker is a really good driver, and also Rappalucas, he's always there.
Well, congratulations on P2. Now let's get to the drama. I think we've held off enough on that. Rappalucas, as it currently stands, you're on podium. Definitely a bit of a questionable move in the last turn.
Let's not forget, F1 driver's a head admin, so I'm definitely probably going to get a race ban for the next one, but anyway, continue.
Nah, don't worry. Nah, don't worry.
Yeah,
Nah, don't worry. You're not. No.
You know, whatever.
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Either way, talk us through the last 2 laps of that restart. You were kind of catching down Boker, staying even with him. It looked pretty close. Some points you were catching him. Some points you were losing time to him on our timing boards. But did that safety car help you or hurt you? Because now you see what's happened.
Well, I mean, I had a run on Boker. I was on the inside. I would have, I'd have just outbroke, because obviously when you're on the inside, it's a lot easier to, just drift wide, and then obviously the next corner is really tight. So it's really good to be on the inside. I probably would have got past him there. F1 driver decides to stick his nose in and half spin me around and lose me 4 positions. So really appreciate that one. And yeah, from then on it was just recovery. I was trying to recover after, getting hit, and then at the end, I know it looks really bad, but I just tried to scare him, and then I don't know, he broke really early for some reason, and he turned in so early, and I just clipped his rear. I didn't realize he'd spun around, so I slowed down to try to let him back pass, but then I realized he was round, so there was no point. So I carried on. From my point of view,
F1.
it was how'd you say, like 1.5 a dozen of the, what is it? Something like that. It's like, he like half spun me on the restart, lost me loads of positions, and I spun him at the end, and so he lost loads of positions. So I think that from that point of view, we both did the wrong thing, and so we're even now.
Yeah, you guys are good friends. He was in a party with both of you before the race, actually, to be honest with you. But he said from his interview that the incident in USA where he dive bombed Nufsy Ryan in the last corner was a bit aggressive and a bit ambitious, but this move was a bit worse from you from that far back in the last turn.
Yeah, it was wrong, but he didn't mention when he half spun me on turn 1, did he? Of course he did.
Oh, he did. He did mention it,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
he
don't
come-
think he
Cool,
mentioned
let's
much
see what he's
about
put in
it.
the update section. Probably something very toxic. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Oh, it's not
Main
updates, it's
chat.
main chat.
Nothing's in there.
If there was a championship contender acts when he loses positions in why league race, just join open lobbies. Okay, I'm not going to comment on that, but yeah, when the stream ends, we can have a chat about that. Continue. And anyway, he's head admin, so
but-
what is he on about?
Yeah. Either way, I know for sure Singapore's one of your good tracks. How do you feel about what could happen next week? The thunderstorms, the conditions, just the track in general. What do you want to happen next week? I know you want to win. I know everyone wants to win, but
I'm going to have a race ban anyway. It doesn't matter.
no, you're not gonna have a race ban.
Yeah,
That's not even anything toward a race ban. Milo could probably agree. That wasn't even. It's not even like.
No,
I mean,
not
yeah,
race-
you
not
said
race
you missed
ban.
the breaks. Yeah. No
yeah,
way.
maybe
it's race
quali
ban.
ban. Maybe quali ban.
Probably
Seems
the
very
worst.
good.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Seems fantastic.
Like I said, you
He'll
never
need
know.
he'll need an agreement before we.
I mean, him and Polo, because they're on the same team, won't be reviewing it. Polo is just a
Oh,
backup
I'm sure he
still, so
will be.
They
but,
won't be
you know,
reviewing
it's
it.
all
No, I'll make sure.
good. Okay.
I won't.
Either way, congratulations on P3 for now. I guess. Polo, now to you. Well, I didn't think you would think that was possible. Your last points position was back in Bahrain last season. And Polo, this time, you might be on the podium again. What the hell do you have to say? Because I want to know what you're thinking.
I have no words
Include audio,
about what
by the way.
happened. I mean, when the safety car came out, I was reluctant. I was thinking of pitting. But when I saw when everyone else didn't pit, I decided to just go against it. And the restart was kind of insane because once a F1 driver kind of hit off Rappalucas went diving down my inside, kind of breaking a bit of my front wing.
Yeah,
But it didn't really affect much. But then when I saw not Booker, Rappalucas and F1 driver just hit at the final corner, I was like, what is going on? And then I come across the line, I just see him fourth. I have no words.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, what do you think is gonna happen to him? What do you think? I know you're not gonna be reviewing this incident, nor is F1 driver, but what do you think is gonna happen in this incident because of what happened there?
I mean, I think he will get a penalty.
Both of them. Do you think both of them will, or
I
what?
think both of them might get a penalty because both of them were a bit aggressive together. I think F1 driver will probably get like a time penalty, maybe even a quali ban. I think Rappalucas might get a time penalty or a quali ban as well, because maybe both of them were equally as kind of bad as Rappalucas
Yeah.
said, in my opinion.
Now, obviously, this was the last place you scored points, proper points, not a pole position, not a fastest lap, none of that stuff. This was the last time you scored proper points. This time you score points again in this race. Back in the points, Polo, back not a bottle job, how does this work out for you? And how do you look at the future races from this?
Well, it boosts my confidence. Obviously, it's been a full season since I've properly scored points, and have to be at a track where I scored my only podium last season, and could be my second podium considering what happens with penalties. But yeah, I'm really happy, but I'm not really so confident for the future races because considering Singapore next week is like it's one of my worst tracks, so I'm not really looking forward to that race, especially since it's going to be in the wet. Most likely.
Well, considering what we see right now, yeah. Do you have any questions for Milo? And by the way, congratulations on P4. What could be P3?
I don't really have a question to be honest. They've all been taken.
Well, congratulations to you guys on your finishes. Obviously, a lot will be reviewed, but with the way this looks, this might even be the podium. We're not even sure. This is going to be reviewed. F1 driver, Milo, what do you think of the move with F1 driver into turn 1? Do you think that's deserving of at least some sort of small penalty? Because he did move him out of the way, and it affected him and made him lose positions a ton.
Well, yeah, Boca and Rafa were holding their lines, so I do think that turn one thing was entirely on F1 driver, but the reaction was just unacceptable.
From who?
So that will get a
From Rappalucas,
Probably
I
the
think Milo
penalty,
said.
yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like myself, and I'll say what I think right now. I probably shouldn't say what I think on stream, but I'm gonna. I think F1 driver definitely deserves a 3 or 5 second penalty for sure. He moved him out of the way, he lost positions. That's fair. But Rappalucas completely wrecked him in the final corner. I think that's at least deserving of a 5 or 10 second. Rappalucas, maybe it's even with him, I don't know. But it's definitely worthy of Rappalucas losing that podium. At least both of them may be losing something than what they already have. What do you think about it, Milo?
I think I do agree with you. A smaller penalty, 3 to 5. But obviously, if that's getting a 3 to 5, then Rapper will need something a bit more beefy.
How
Yeah,
about,
I don't think
five
quali
race
ban's the way to
bans?
go, but
Yep, good idea. Eat a
Yeah.
championship.
yeah, I guess so. Well, that was an interesting one, Milo. Singapore is next time out. Will the weather cooperate with us? Tier 3 is next week, Tier 2 is next week, Tier 1. How do you think that will all go if it's in the wet?
I think it will be one of the. But well, whoever chose Singapore, thank you. Because we're
Rappalucas, yeah.
about to have one of the most chaotic weekends in ARL's short history. With rain
can I just
looking
say
likely
something?
for all. Yep, go ahead.
Before the race, I was feeling sick as fuck, and like as soon as the race started, I felt fine.
Oh,
Wow.
it's just the power of winning.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you got more sicker with what happened with the safety car, at least, for sure.
Yeah, it was a good race. Singapore
Yeah, it
will
was
be
a good race.
crazy.
Either way, next week the partner league GSR goes to Monaco for tier 1, Germany for tier 2 and tier 3. Don't miss that action. I'll be streaming that one. And next week I will also be streaming tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for Singapore. Milo, any news about LDRL? That returns this week, doesn't it?
Yep, today I released the schedule, so we will be at Germany on Wednesday and Thursday for tier 1 and tier 2 respectively. So if you're in the ARL server or you're following me elsewhere, you know, you'll see more about that. I'll make sure it gets out to people.
Yeah. Either way, this next weekend in Singapore, it's gonna be a wet one from what it looks like, and that's probably the way it goes. Stay tuned in the Discord server for post-race penalties. You're gonna see a lot of them, I'm sure. We thought that was a clean race, but until the last safety car, that turned to chaoticness, and that turned to a shit show, I guess you could say, with two drivers, which we know who they are. Either way, we'll figure that out in the penalties and whatnot. We'll talk about it pretty soon, and sorting. Either way, find out what happens there. Catch us next time in Singapore for Tier 1 next week on Sunday, Tier 2 next week on Saturday, and Tier 3 on Friday. I don't really have much else to say. Is there anything you want to say, Milo, about this race, or anything else that you want to say?
Well, just wait and see, because there'll still be a lot of reaction post-race with penalties and the weather report. Everything will kick off stream. We just know it.
Well, either way, in the end, we didn't have as much people watching this week, but I need to appear online next time, because that's why we didn't have as much people watching. That was the issue with it. So I need to learn how to appear online when I need to. So hopefully I fix that for next race, and hopefully we don't get less viewers like we did this week. Either way, that's all I really have to say. And thank you everybody for watching, and make sure you tune in next week for Singapore. Will it be wet? Will it be dry? You'll just have to find out.